In the annals of history, few figures evoke such divergent opinions as Napoleon Bonaparte. Was he a genius, a visionary leader whose military strategies and administrative reforms reshaped Europe? Or was he a tyrant, a figure of tyranny whose ambition led to unnecessary wars and massive suffering? This question has been debated for over 2 centuries, yet it remains unresolved. Whether you love him or detest him, there is no denying that Napoleon's life was nothing short of extraordinary. You might be wondering what made this man tick and what legacy he ultimately left behind. Stick around, because the revelations ahead will challenge your perceptions and illuminate the complex tapestry of one of history's most enigmatic figures. Napoleon was born on August 15, 1769, in Corsica, an island that had only recently become a French territory. The son of a lawyer, he was initially disadvantaged, facing the systemic biases of being a Corsican on the French mainland. Yet, by sheer force of will and intelligence, he clawed his way into the French military. Imagine a young man, not even fully fluent in French, rising from obscurity to become the Emperor of the French, a feat nearly unimaginable at that time. But how did he accomplish this? The answer lies in his remarkable intellect, keen strategic mind, and unyielding ambition. As a teenager, Napoleon studied at an elite military academy, where he quickly distinguished himself not only through his academic prowess but also his tactical ingenuity. Did you know he was a prolific reader? His love for literature and philosophy played a significant role in shaping his worldview. It's fascinating to note that figures like Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar were significant inspirations, their feats etched in the young Napoleon's mind. And while many might see these influences as mere admiration, they were instrumental in forming a burning desire within him, a desire not just to lead, but to be remembered alongside these giants of history. Fast forward to the turmoil of the French Revolution. The upheaval created a climate ripe for a new kind of leader, and Napoleon seized the moment. The revolution had dismantled the old social order but left France in disarray, economically and politically. The newly created French Republic was fragile, and that is where Napoleon emerged as a beacon of hope for some and a harbinger of doom for others. Did you know that he staged a coup d'état in 1799 that effectively ended the revolution? This audacious move earned him the title of First Consul, positioning him as the de facto leader of France. With that power, he sought to stabilize France and reforge its identity. It's essential to highlight how Napoleon managed to garner such unwavering loyalty from a nation still reeling from revolution. He implemented a series of reforms that touched every aspect of French society. One of his most enduring achievements is the Napoleonic Code, a set of civil laws that established the principles of legal equality, abolition of feudal privileges, and secular authority. You might be surprised to learn that this legal framework has had a lasting impact, not just in France but across Europe and even beyond. The code inspired legal reforms in various nations and laid the groundwork for modern legal systems. However, while his reforms were revolutionary, they came at a significant cost. The Napoleonic Code, although progressive in many ways, also centralized authority, undermining the very freedoms many had fought for during the revolution. This leads us back to our central question: was he a genius or a tyrant? The lines blur as we see the duality in his leadership. He embodied both the liberator and the oppressor. One of the most incredible facets of Napoleon's life is his military genius. He was a master tactician whose strategies are studied in military academies to this day. In countless battles, from Austerlitz to Waterloo, he showcased an uncanny ability to outmaneuver his opponents. Have you ever wondered what made his approach so different? It was his understanding of the importance of speed and maneuverability, often striking before his enemy could react. This approach not only earned him decisive victories but also cemented his reputation as a military icon. However, with great power comes great peril. As Napoleon's empire expanded, so did his enemies. By 1812, at the height of his power, he controlled much of Europe. But did you know that it was his ill-fated invasion of Russia that marked the beginning of his downfall? The campaign was riddled with logistical challenges, overextended supply lines, harsh winter conditions, and the scorched earth tactics employed by the Russians effectively crushed his grand army. What came next will leave you speechless. From over 600,000 troops that began the campaign, less than 100,000 returned. It was a devastating loss that sent shockwaves throughout Europe and drastically altered the course of history. After his first exile to the island of Elba, he would return for a short period known as the 100 Days. This became a stirring saga of resilience and ambition, where he attempted to reclaim his lost glory. Yet, this effort culminated in a catastrophic defeat at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, a battle that would seal his fate once and for all. It raises the question, could he have achieved lasting greatness if he had chosen a different path? Would history remember him as a benevolent ruler instead of a usurper? As he languished in his second exile on the remote island of St. Helena, isolated and in declining health, one can't help but wonder what thoughts filled his mind. Was he tormented by regrets, or did he see himself as a misunderstood genius? Perhaps he reflected on the greatness he once possessed. However, one of the most compelling elements of his exile is that it allowed for a posthumous re-examination of his life and works. Napoleon's legacy would continue to fuel debates. Was his ambition purely tyrannical, or did it pave the way for modern governance? To consider Napoleon is to walk a fine line between admiration and disdain. Yet, curiously, his life serves as a mirror, reflecting the complexities of human ambition. It conjures a compelling narrative, the rise and fall of a man who wanted to reshape the world and was willing to make sacrifices to achieve that vision. But at what cost? As we dive deeper into his life, we'll unravel the contrasting opinions surrounding his rule. And as we peel back the layers, we will uncover insights that may be surprisingly relevant to our world today. In the next segment, we will explore not just the military and political strategies that defined his empire but also the personal relationships that shaped Napoleon as a leader. From his marriage to Josephine, fraught with complexity, to the dynastic ambitions that influenced his decisions, we will glimpse the man behind the myth. As we prepare to transition to deeper themes of identity, love, and resilience, consider this thought: can an individual truly be both a revolutionary figure and a bleeding tyrant? Stay tuned, as we navigate the tumultuous waters that shaped not only Napoleon's life but also the course of history itself. As we delve into the complexities of Napoleon's personal relationships, we uncover a different dimension of his story that plays a crucial role in shaping his identity as a leader. Central to this narrative is his tumultuous marriage to Josephine de Beauharnais, a woman who was as magnetic as she was complicated. Their relationship is often portrayed as a passionate romance that withstood the trials of ambition and war. However, it was also marked by betrayal, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of power. Napoleon met Josephine in 1795, and their initial attraction was immediate. Josephine, a widow with 2 children, was deeply ensconced in the elite circles of Paris, while Napoleon was an ambitious soldier on the rise. Their relationship flourished, leading to a marriage that would see them navigate the turbulent waters of the French Revolution and the ascent of Napoleonic power. Josephine was not merely a partner, she was a source of inspiration and a confidant during Napoleon's rise. Her charm and social skills helped him ingratiate himself with the elite, while her presence presented a picture of stability amidst chaos. Yet, the relationship was fraught with challenges. Napoleon's ambitions required heirs, and Josephine was unable to provide them. This conflict would ultimately lead Napoleon to make one of his most heart-wrenching decisions: to divorce her in 1810. He replaced her with Marie-Louise of Austria, a union intended to strengthen political ties and secure a dynasty. The decision was not taken lightly, nor was it devoid of emotion. It haunted Napoleon for the rest of his life. While he'd presented himself as a man of iron, a relentless warrior capable of monumental conquest, his personal decisions revealed a more vulnerable side, a man torn between love and ambition, duty and desire. In the backdrop of this heart-wrenching narrative, we must consider the impact of Napoleon's expansive empire on his personal life. As he realized his ambition of becoming Emperor of the French in 1804, he was not only amassing power but also transforming France's relationship with the rest of Europe. This was a time when boundaries were being redrawn, and the age of empires was at its zenith. Conquests in Italy, the establishment of the Confederation of the Rhine, and the acquisition of the Kingdom of Naples showcased both his military prowess and political acumen. However, these expansions were accompanied by significant costs. Napoleon's military campaigns resulted in the loss of countless lives, and his forced conscription turned France into a nation perpetually at war. The ambitions that drove him to the heights of power also blurred the ethical lines of governance. He was not just a military leader, he became a ruler whose decisions profoundly affected the lives of millions. This complexity is crucial in understanding how he navigated the balance between being a liberator and an oppressor. The contradictions in his leadership style invite further scrutiny. On the one hand, he promoted meritocracy and sought to give more rights to the common people through the creation of public schools, universities, and a complex administrative system that emphasized efficiency and clarity. On the other hand, these reforms often came at the expense of individual freedoms, as dissent was not tolerated, and censorship became a tool of governance. As he instituted the ideals of the revolution, his actions often contradicted the original liberatory motives behind it. The paradox of his leadership, a revolutionary attempting to impose order through autocracy, further complicates the question of whether he is a genius or a tyrant. Many historians have dissected this dichotomy through various lenses, each offering fresh perspectives. Some commend his progressive reforms as foundational for modern governance, while others vehemently critique his extensive military campaigns and authoritarian rule. It begs the question, was Napoleon a necessary conflict in the evolution of European politics? Did his ambition lead to the unification of Europe, or was it an imperialistic endeavor that sowed the seeds of nationalism and ultimately contributed to decades of turmoil? The legacy of Napoleon's ambition and his expansionist policies found echo in Europe long after his fall. The 19th century would witness a wave of nationalist sentiments, with countries like Italy and Germany forging identities in reaction to Napoleonic rule. The very notion of a centralized nation-state was reshaped in the crucible of the turmoil he ignited, forming a complex web of interconnected histories that would eventually lead to both the unification of nations and the bloodshed of the world wars. Yet, despite the chaos of his campaigns, some would argue that Napoleon brought a sense of stability to a continent grappling with the fallout of the revolution. His strategies in diplomacy and statecraft, such as the continental system, were revolutionary even as they were controversial. By striving to isolate Britain economically, he aimed to elevate France as a preeminent power. However, the system ultimately backfired, leading to widespread resentment in conquered territories and contributing to rising nationalism. In looking toward his military strategies, the tapestry of Napoleon's ingenuity becomes undeniably rich. His principles of swift, decisive action redefined European warfare. From the crowning achievement at Austerlitz, where he famously defeated the combined forces of Russia and Austria, to the heart-rending defeat at Waterloo, each battle not only showcased his military prowess but also served as a narrative of ambition undeterred by consequences. Scholars continue to analyze his tactics. The concept of maneuver warfare that he pioneered reshaped military doctrines across the globe. Yet here lies the paradox. As he sought to impose his vision across Europe, often through brutal conquests, his methods inadvertently fueled the rise of resistance and the seeds of nationalism. Each territory he sought to control was also a breeding ground for a burgeoning identity that contested his rule. The very ambition that sparked a historic era of change could also be seen as the catalyst for the conflicts that followed, including the uprisings in Spain and the wars of liberation across Europe. It is in this context that we arrive at the final chapters of Napoleon's life. His exiles, first to Elba and then to St. Helena, reflect a profound transformation, from a figure of immense power to one struggling with the policies and choices that had shaped his legacy. The days spent in isolation were marked by reflection, where he dictated his memoirs, framing his story as that of a misunderstood visionary rather than a tyrant. His last years were imbued with a sense of defiance against the tides of history, clinging to the belief that he was the beacon for a new European order. As we draw a contemplative breath, what conclusions can we draw from this larger-than-life figure? The audacity of Napoleon Bonaparte embodies the essence of human aspiration, even as it collides with the stark realities of ambition. Is it not remarkable how his rise mirrors the hopes and frailties of humanity itself? Napoleon stands as a potent symbol, illustrating how individuals can shape history through resolve and vision, only to find their ambitions tempered by the consequences of their actions. In the end, whether regarded as a genius or a tyrant, one truth remains: Napoleon crafted a legacy that continues to provoke debate and inspire scholarship. His life has been bitterly scrutinized through lenses both celebratory and condemnatory. Much like the figure of a mirrored reflection, he reveals the dualities of human endeavor. In exploring the life of Napoleon Bonaparte, we confront a myriad of questions that persist within our own societies: the price of ambition, the struggle between autonomy and authority, and the enduring quest for identity in a world marked by conflict and change. As we look towards our own future, let us take heed of the lessons embedded in the life of this extraordinary leader. Ambition can propel us to unimaginable heights, but it is imperative we remain mindful of the paths we choose and the legacies we leave behind. The story of Napoleon is, at its core, a cautionary tale, a testament to the human condition, forever dancing on the edge of greatness and downfall. Thus, the narrative of Bonaparte lives on, not simply as a historical account but as an eternal reflection on the nature of power, ambition, and the intricacies of the human spirit. Napoleon may indeed be a paradox, but he remains an essential chapter in the story of humanity, a tale marked by brilliance and folly, ambition and consequence, forever reminding us that the choices we make echo far beyond the moment.